Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino redoes his Sword and Shield tier list. I made one before the game came out that was based on the leaked Pokemon after they had all gotten leaked like 2 or 3 days before the game came out, and then people were like, your channel's gonna get deleted. So I was like, alright, I'll take it down, fine. But now the game has been out for like a couple weeks. I don't know how long it's been. It'll come out in November. Oh, it's December already. Never mind. It's been a few weeks. Yeah. So, and I get to have had a lot more experience with the Pokemon in general, which is a better way to rank them anyway, based on some stuff. We got the boppin' ass gym leader theme in the background. It's one of the best pieces of music this game's ever made. It's legitimately fantastic. We're gonna rank them based on how I like them, basically. Stats will come into play a little bit. Design will come into play a little bit. My own biases will come into play a lot if you've seen any sort of Pokemon ranking from me in the past, which I've done a lot of, so you can check those out too. If this was new and drew you towards it. Let's start with just what they got going on here, which is Galarian Meowth, which I didn't know the difference between this and Berserker for a long time because they look so similar. Galarian Meowth, Berserker down here, there's almost no difference. Their eyes are orange, he gained a little bit of horns. He changed color. Okay, if you put it next to each other, there's a bunch of differences, but like they don't catch your eye specifically. Galarian Meowth is pure steel type, and I mean, we're just doing the evolutions, so like let me just move this up here and we'll just talk about Berserker. Berserker new evolution, which is cool, but of the new evolutions to old Pokemon, this one is probably the worst. Berserker's got like pretty good attack, and that's it. It's not even like really bulky at all. It's not fast. It's got nothing going on. It's pure steel type. It's just a weird Pokemon. I don't know why it exists. Like, you already had a Alolan Meowth. You need Galarian Meowth also. I think of all the Pokemon in the world, we're not really looking to get like 9 different forms of Meowth. Like, you didn't even do Galarian Pikachu. I mean, you didn't even do Alolan Pikachu either, so. But, yeah. Or Galarian Eevee or any kind of those kind of things, which would have been cool. You didn't even need to do that. You just needed to give him a new evolution. That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted was a new Eevee evolution. That's all we want every generation, and you did not do that. Why? Why did you not do that? Anyway, Berserker is basically F tier. If there's gonna be an F tier, I think Berserker goes in there. There's probably gonna be a couple more F tiers. Well, there is. But yeah, I played the game for like 65 hours. I haven't had the chance to like really use this dude in battle, but it's not super important to me because I have not been interested in him at all. Next up, we've got Galarian Rapidash. Seems like they have all the Galarian forms up here first, I guess. Yeah, sure. Do them in order. Galarian Rapidash. Galarian Ponyta is delightful. Just a delightful Pokemon. Pure Psychic, doesn't get Fairy until it evolves, similarly to how Vulpix was with Alolan Ninetales and all that. They didn't change their stats at all. So, like, I like Galarian forms that mess with the stats. They mess with the formula. This is not one of them. Galarian Rapidash has the exact same stats as regular Rapidash, which I like it because, like, I mean, I don't like that, but I like the idea behind Galarian Rapidash because of all the Gen 1 fire types, Rapidash is the least thought of. You know, everybody loves Arcanine, everyone loves Charizard, everybody loves Vulpix even. I guess the only one that maybe is less thought of is Magmar, but at least Magmortar was a thing in Gen 4 and they did something with him. Rapidash hasn't been touched until now since the beginning, so it's cool that they did this. I like the idea behind it. Very My Little Pony, although I didn't watch that, so I don't care. I don't care about that in general. Like, it's cool. I will give it, like, B tier because they didn't change him at all. They just kind of made him look different, which is cool. It's fine. I don't love it. I like it. It's fine. So that's alright. Then we have, well, if you're gonna put, okay, Sirfetch'd is down here somewhere. Let me move him up. We'll talk about him. I don't have Pokemon Sword, I have Shield, so I did not get a chance to get Sirfetch'd, who is a Sword exclusive, because I also don't trade with that many people. But from what I looked at his stats, he's got crazy good attack. Like, he's a good Pokemon. Like, he's ballin', and I straight up just will take that word for it. Like, just looking at the stats and looking at his moves and whatnot, like, Sirfetch'd is a killer. He is a killer, he can't be stopped. He's pure fighting type, which is kind of annoying. I didn't look to see if he has an ability, or like a hidden ability that might like change some of his moves to a different type and like give him some stab, but it's like all his flying moves, like he doesn't have stab anymore. Assuming that he even learns those. But, you know, if he was fighting flying, I would like that better. But he's not. But, just whatever. Then we have Galarian Wheezing. Galarian Wheezing adds the fairy type to the poison type, and he's cool. His Pokedex lore is like, you know, is they say that like, when factories started popping up across Galar, this Pokemon changed its form. So it's like just the excess fumes and exhaust and waste from factories like turned Wheezing into this company man. Like, look at his fucking hat. Double hats. They're a top hat and they're a chimney smokestack. Like, this is a cool design. I really enjoyed. They all unfortunately did also not change his stats at all though, but they made him fairy type. As well as poison, which, so he's good against other fairy types. If you're doing like a mono type thing, he's necessary. I like Galarian Wheezing. I will also put him in B tier, because it's like, you know, they didn't change anything, but he looks cool. So basically the same deal as Rapidash for me. Then we have, well, if we have Galarian Mr. Mime, then we'll just talk about Galarian Mr. Rhyme. Although there is no Galarian Mr. Rhyme, it's just Mr. Rhyme. He's the only Mr. Rhyme. Mr. Rhyme is fantastic. Just a lovely Pokemon. He's listed as the comedian Pokemon, so like I have to have a soft spot for him. And I just like, yeah, I like him. He goes into A tier. He's good. He's got good special attack. He's not that slow either. He's not as fast as regular Mr. Mime, but like he's pretty strong. I like what they've got going on there with that. Next up, they have Corsola, the ghost type. Bring me down to the Corsola. And Corsola is a beast. Corsola, they changed a lot, which is what I want. First of all, Corsola was absolute dog shit and useless and never good and never made any sense why it was a thing. I mean, it made sense why it was a thing. It didn't make sense why it was so stupidly bad. And then they took that and they turned it into Corsola, who has like base 145 special attack or something insane like that, like the same as Chandelure. And very low defense, but very good special defense. So, like, this is a good, situational Pokemon, just super strong. Just so strong, very useful, and I will put that in A tier as well. Like, this is another solid example of taking a Galarian form and making it relevant again in a good way. So I appreciate that. Speaking of that, next up is Obstagoon, who might be the best example of this. Because Obstagoon... first of all, they changed the entire line, which is, I think this is the only line that, like, they gave a third evolution and they changed the entire line. So this is a big deal right here. Like, Zigzagoon, Linoon, and I love their new themes. I think they're far superior to, like, the original ones. This, like, Kiss dynamic thing they got here, this punk thing. Like, it really fits them, and Obstagoon is, just a beast. Obstagoon, very bulky. Pretty strong, pretty fast, sort of fast. I think it lowers its speed when it evolves, maybe. I'm not sure. But, like, Obstagoon is... Dude, if you fight one in a raid battle, good luck. It uses freaking Obstruct and, like, prevents your moves from affecting it, and then it's got, like, 7 bars on its barriers. It's absolutely disgusting. Never fight an Obstagoon in a raid battle. But, like, it's another A tier. It's just an A tier. The Galarian forms have been killer. For the most part, like 80-20 ratio on good Galarian forms. So I'm pleased about, we can do the math later. I mean, yeah, because this is a bad one, and then these, even if it's just B tier, like, they're still good, so that's fine. Ice-type Darumaka, dude, this freaking snow globe, snowman. It's a snowman. You should have just instantly known that that's what it was. I say to myself. Dude, Darumaka, Darmanitan. These are also sword exclusives. I didn't get a chance to use them. I looked at their stats, crazy stats. 160 attack on this snowman thing. This is like its Zen mode, so it takes a certain amount of damage, then it goes into Zen mode and becomes the strongest Pokemon in the game, basically. Like, legendaries included, almost. So... yeah, you're S tier, and like the two of you like next to each other, you gotta be S tier. You're so good, it's so crazy. And the snowman keeps the fire type, so it's ice fire type when it's a snowman. So it gets that double stab boost, and the coverage is insane, man. absolutely crazy. And like, don't you think you could put a rock type up against this thing? Darmanitan's faster than you, most likely, and will learn a fighting type move and you'll die. Because its attack is so good. Even though your defense is probably really good because you're a rock type. Doesn't matter, it's too strong for you, bro. So, S tier for you guys. Crazy good. Then we have Runerigus. Runerigus? Where did you go? Where have you gone? There's Yamask. Where's Runerigus? Oh, there you are. You look like you're just hiding behind Snarl over there. Runerigus is, it's good. Like, it's one of the harder ones. Dude, it introduces the dumbest evolution, thing, task that you have to do to evolve the Pokemon. Dude, he has to get hit for, like, what, 42 damage in one hit, and then you go park him underneath an overpass like a homeless man, and he evolves there. Like, that's his that's how you evolve him? Who would have thought of this? No one would have figured this out if it wasn't, like, just told across the internet, like, oh, by the way, this is how you evolve Yamask. It's like, oh, good. I would have had him at, like, level 80. Like, what the hell? Why isn't he evolving? I don't understand. I tried everything. But, Runerigus, super insane defense, pretty good attack, and pretty good special defense. So, like, Runerigus is good in battle. I'm also going to give it A tier. Runerigus, it's worth the grind. I mean, you give it like a Focus Sash or something and then just let it tank a level 60, whatever. And that's a way to do it, but that's a waste of a Focus Sash, sort of. But, you know, times are tough. You gotta adapt to some bullshit that's going on. Dude, some of the evolution methods. Like, I thought holding your DS upside down with Inkay was, like, weird enough. In that one, at least makes sense conceptually, because it's like, well, when Inkay evolves into Malamar, it does sort of look like it got flipped upside down. But, like, you would never think to do that, so... then we have Stunfisk. What a strange Pokemon. I like that they gave it a Galarian form, because I like Stunfisk. I think it's overrated, or underrated. But this Galarian form is not very good. It's Ground Steel type. It gets the ability to Camouflage, so it can, like, change its type based on where it's at, but it's not good. Like, it's just not that good. I'm not gonna put it in F tier because it's better than Berserker, but I think D tier is where you go. I like the way it looks. I like the lore behind it. I like how when you go into the mine, it's like, it like nestles barely underneath the ground and then you just see like the little Pokeball thing come out of the thing. I think that's cool. A lot of these Pokemon are saved by their lore, if you think about it. And also the fact that there's no national dex is sorta saved by the lore. Because they pick the Pokemon specifically that are going to inhabit the Galar region, and then if you look at their entries, like, Pokemon that are new have relationships with Pokemon that are old. So, like, I don't know, there's something to do with, I have zero examples to give you, but I know that they're a thing, because I see them all the time. If you, like, look, it's like, oh, Mandibuzz preys upon Applin when it has, you know, so, like, it's stuff like that. Which is cool to read. It's cool to read and see how, like, the new Pokemon and the old Pokemon will get along together. So that's cool. And then I just imagine, like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. We're good with that, and now we're moving on to the starters, it appears. We're gonna start with Rillaboom. Ooh, Rillaboom, you get a straight... Here's the deal. He's good. He's a good Pokemon. He's got super good attack. He's not as bulky as you think he is. He's not bulky at all, actually. But he's sort of fast. He's faster than Decidueye. But everybody's faster than Decidueye. Still can't believe they did that shit. But yeah, like, he's good. Despite that, I hate him. And the reason that I hate him is because he's just Donkey Konga the Pokemon. Rillaboom is the dumbest name I ever heard. And... Dude, I hate the way that he just, like, shuffles. You can't see me doing it, but I'm doing it right now. But, like, if you've ever seen Rillaboom in battle, you know what I'm... Like, he just shuffles, and it's like, can you stop? Like, nothing's happening yet. Like, you don't need to be on your toes. You're hiding behind a giant drum. Like, you don't need to be agile. That's not what it's expected of you. Rillaboom is D tier, because, yeah, like, if it was just about battling, he'd be much higher. But I just don't like him, man. I don't like him at all. Cinderace, on the other hand, first of all three of these starters took some getting used to. They did. You know, when they were first revealed, everybody was all disappointed. Some people liked them, which good for you, because you were ahead of the curve, because the rest of us sort of had to slowly come around like we do with most Pokemon. that are revealed, and it's like, oh, you learn more about them, you get used to them, you learn the lore, you learn their moveset, you fight with them on your team, you get some companionship. You're like, you know what, I don't not like these Pokemon after all. They're good. They're pretty good. I've had a full come around with Cinderace. I think Cinderace is actually bitchin' now. I think he's super good. His stats are really good. He's fast and he has good attack. Those are the things that I like in a Pokemon. So he is perfectly attuned to my battle needs. And also just like, I just like the way he's like a soccer player. He's an athlete. I just think like, when I think about the fact that this is like a UK-based game in terms of like Galar, the region and stuff, like they would make a starter about like a football player it's cool. Because like soccer's a big deal in England and whatnot. Football, whatever. Doesn't Brazil also call it football? Are we the only ones that don't call it football because we have actual football? Damn. Yeah, dude, Cinderace kills it. He actually kills it. I think Cinderace is S tier. He's my favorite starter for sure, and I think he's even up there with like some of the other great starters. Like, I think he could compete with Blaziken. I think he'd definitely compete with Infernape. I just think he's good. I think he's a high tier fire starter, I will say. I had to do some soul search and come to that conclusion. I had to battle with him a lot, but I got there, and it was great. Inteleon is better than Rillaboom, but not as good as Cinderace, in my estimation. I have yet to use him in battle, though I have used Rillaboom and Cinderace extensively now. But Inteleon is a different beast. I've gotten used to it, and I don't not like him anymore. Like, I don't care. He's a Pokemon that I'm like, I don't feel any particular way about this Pokemon. So I will put him in C tier. And just leave it at that, basically. Every joke that everybody made about him being like a Gex knockoff or whatever, or just random other cartoon characters that he looks like, I'm sure that's all accurate. Gex is pretty accurate to be not really the first game, but like he becomes like a secret agent in the next games or something like that, so like that definitely has some bearing on it. But like he's good, and like his stats are good. All three of the starters are good in battle. That's what's important. And that's so rare that all three starters are viable. Like that's good. Like you should be giving him props for that at least. So good for him. Next up we have Greetin. Greetin? That's definitely what he sounds like. Greetin is just a fat-ass squirrel. I didn't think with Wooloo that anybody would give a shit about Greetin. I thought they already did Wooloo, everybody's freaking out, the internet's in an uproar about how cute Wooloo is. Nobody's gonna give a second crap about Greetin, like a fat squirrel that just looks like it ate Pachirisu. And I think, I'm gonna say I was wrong about that, because like, he's not that good. He has good attack, and he's bulky too. He's just sort of like an unsung, like, pretty okay It's like, Greetin is B tier. Like, I think I would actually put him there. He's probably underrated, I would say. He's very slow. But it's not a huge deal. He gets access to, like, really good moves. Like, he can learn, like, Seed Bomb and Bullet Seed, and Body Press is good for him because he has good defense. Just things of that nature. I mean, he's normal type. All normal type Pokemon get great coverage, but like, he's good. I like him. He also has access to, like, Stockpile, Swallow, and Spit Up, which nobody does ever, so why are they still trying to make that a thing? At least all three. No one in their history of the world has ever made a Pokemon. Like, you know what? I'm going to teach you Stockpile, Swallow, and Spit Up. Those are going to be 3 out of your 4 moves, and you're going to be so good as a result of that. Not a single person does that. So, yeah, screw that. Then we have Korbinites. We're coming to Korbinite, getting all the early route Pokemon out of the way here. Corviknight is sort of disappointing to me. I thought, because he looked BA. When he was first announced, I didn't think he would be like the Pidgey type of Pokemon, but he is. I thought Corviknight, I didn't even know he had pre-evolution. I was like, this dude, he reminds me of Skarmory. I think he's going to be like Skarmory because he's also Flying Steel, so he's just going to be his own thing, and he doesn't have pre-evolutions or nothing. But then it was like, no, actually he evolves from Corvisquire, who evolves from Rookity, and it's like, okay, so he's that But then, which is cool that they like went the extra dual type like they did with Talonflame. Like they're navigating away from normal flying. And in fact, Rookity and Corvisquire are both pure flying type, which is they're the first ones of their kind besides Tornadus T or any Tornadus, either of them. So the first like non-legendary. So good for them, but also being pure flying isn't good because you don't get stabbed from normal type moves, and also you don't you're not immune to Ghost anymore. And I think that's worth losing the fighting resistance, to be quite honest with you, because that's 2 benefits as opposed to just the 1 drawback. But Corvisquire becomes steel flying, and its attack is 85, which is garbage. It's a garbage attack stat. Its defense is pretty good. Nothing else about it is remarkable in the slightest. It's just not very good. It's like Unpheasant level of flying. There's different tiers. It's like Pidgeot tier in terms of being good, which is to say that it's not. So, who's good in the flying tiers? Swellow is good, and Staraptor is extremely good in the like flying, and also Braviary, they count as well. But Corviknight is just sort of a middle of the road, like not good enough sort of thing. So like I will put him in D tier. Because I don't like Pokemon that don't fulfill their potential, man. That's just me. You're free to have different opinions. I've never used Orbeetle. His stats don't make me think that he's that good, but I'll put him in C tier. I'll put him in C tier. I've not, you know, I mean, being Bug Psychic, you're already weak against all the other Bug types, which is unfortunate for you. But I don't know, he's cool looking. I'm glad that like they're doing more with Bug and like giving them new dual types. I appreciate that. I always appreciate a new type combination. So that's the first Bug Psychic type, I believe. So great, you know. Then we have Thievul. Dude, all the early route Pokemon are nonsense. If now that I'm thinking about it, like except like, well, we'll get to that, but like most of them are just not good enough. Thievul is dog shit. Like Thievul is not good. It looks cool. I like Nickit. Thievul's got weird boots on that, like, I don't know, but they're attached to him, or are they not? Like, can he slip out of the front boots, and, like, only the front 2 have boots? So, like, where's the rest of your boots? I don't know. And you have, like, a weird Three Musketeers pedo mustache that I don't like. If you zoom in close, which I can't do, so you can't really see it. But he's not good enough. He's not that fast, which he should be extremely fast. He's not that strong. He only has like 85 special attack, which isn't good enough. He can learn Nasty Plot, which is great for that, but like he's not strong enough to me. I think Thievul is C tier. Yeah, I'll just put him in C tier and we'll call that good. Who's next? We got Eldegoss. Eldegoss is not a Pokemon that is worth anything. F tier, straight up. Just, it's pure grass, so it's got nothing going on outside of that. It's bulky special defensively, and that's all it's got going for it, because it's weak on the attack. It's very weak, and it's not good. So, sucks to be Eldegoss. You know, Gossifleur is cute. I like the way Gossifleur looks. It's just a cute little maiden, and then it evolves into just this pus ball. This, like, cotton puff giant brain megamind thing, and it's a letdown. So there's that. I have not used Dubwool. I didn't expect him to go like the Go-Goat route, right? Like you Wooloo. I don't know. I thought Wooloo would be more like Mareep and sort of evolve into like this bipedal thing that stands on its 2 hind legs. Be like an Ampharos. But instead they just opted for a normal type Go-Goat. So okay. We've had this Pokemon before. It was Go-Goat. It was a slightly different type, but same exact basic deal. So Dubwool is... I'll put it in C tier because I think it's not that bad. Like I think it has good attack. Like it has salvageable parts of it, but it's not doing anything to excite me really. Next up we have Dreadnought. Dreadnought is the first early route Pokemon to actually be good to me. I caught him in my first playthrough, and I was very pleased with how he turned out. He's fast. He has, like, base 80-something speed, or maybe it's, like, 74. He's faster than Decidueye. Isn't that fucking hilarious? Dreadnought is also very strong and pretty bulky, and, like, just has access to good stuff. He has good stuff. I don't think he gets Shell Smash, but if he did, he would be OP. Or at least he doesn't learn it by leveling up. So maybe you can, like, TR it or something, I don't know. Not entirely sure. But Dreadnought is a monster. Dreadnought is a monster, and in a great way, so I put him in A tier. I'm very pleased with how he turned out. I loved battling with him. He was my second Pokemon partner besides Cinderace. So the two of us really just tore up the route, killed a bunch of people, maimed several kindergartners, sent lots of creatures to the hospital. It was a great time. Next up, we have Bolthund, Yamper, and Bolthund. Everybody freaked out about Yamper. I was not super enthused about Yamper. I was like, this is one of the uglier kinds of dog, so I don't know why we're all up in arms. It's like, oh, it's a Yorkie. Like, okay, that's fine for you, I guess. Then it evolves into Bolthund. Bolthund isn't a Pokemon. Like, I'm just gonna say it. Bolthund is a Pokemon like Scooby-Doo is a Pokemon. It's just a cartoon dog. There's nothing, it's like Balto. It's Balto, it's Scooby-Doo, it's Wolf of Wall Street, I don't know. It's like, it's just not a Pokemon. Also, if you look at it from behind, its tail is disgusting. It's all raggedy, and it looks like it just curls under him like a diaper, and it's like, you imagine him lifting that up to take a shit, and it's like, oh my god, you're gross. Bolthund is nasty on the backside. But it's fast. It's not that strong, but it is pretty fast. I don't know, it's like on the same level as Zebstrika to me. Like, not great, but not bad. Like, it's not a bad Pokemon. I would put you... You're a little better than these two. I'll put you in B tier. Bolthund can have B tier. B for Bolthund. It's good. So that's fine. Who's next? Colossal. Ooh, we're gonna talk about a colossal disappointment. Oh man. Your stats are garbage, and there's nothing that can save you. You're also not... I like Roly-Coly. I like Carkol. I like both of these two Pokemon design-wise, and then they just turn into another Golem, but it has charcoal on its back, and also it's not as good, which is so unfortunate. Colossal really just is kind of a letdown. I feel like anybody who's trained it sort of knows it, unless they really, like, are not keen on stats and they don't care, which is plenty of people. But I just think E goes into F tier. I think it's extremely a letdown, which is a shame because I was really excited for it. I thought we were going to get another Gigalith. Instead, we got something much worse than a Gigalith, I suppose. Because Gigalith is a beast. Gigalith is amazing. That should be your gold standard if you're trying to make a rock type that has 3 stages. But, yeah. We have to rank Appleton and Flapple as 2 different things, because they're 2 different evolutions for 2 different versions of the game, for 2 different types of apples that you give to your Applin when you evolve it. I used Appletoon on my playthrough, and because I had Shield, so I got Appleton. And at first I was envious. I was like, I wanted Flapple. But when I got Appleton and I really trained with him, I was like, he's great. Appleton is adorable. He's cute. He has that little thing that covers his eyes, and like any Pokemon that's eyes are covered by like anything, it's like just automatically adorable. If you can't see a Pokemon's eyes, it's gorgeous. Or it's cute. That's sort of how it works. I didn't say gorgeous, don't quote me on that. But Appleton is good. It's kind of... The only problem with a Grass Dragon type is that you really can't even send it out against any water types, because most water types have an ice type move, and you're gonna die because you're quad weak to ice. Even if they don't get stabbed, you're still gonna die. So it's like, you really can only send Appleton out against rock and ground types. So it's more restricted of a battler. But I like the way that it looks, I think it's cool. I was way on board with the theme. And then Flapple, is more of a physical attacker. Appleton is a special attacker, but Flapple gets a hidden ability of Hustle. So, like, you could make Flapple super good if it got Hustle, and then you didn't care that it's gonna miss 15% of all its moves, which is more like 50, because we know how percentages work in Pokemon. But Appleton gets an A tier from me. I have not used Flapple. I will put him in B tier. if we're being honest, like, Flapple's probably just straight up better than Appleton by, like, a large margin, because it's also much faster. But it's only 70 base speed, so it's not that fast. It's as fast as Decidueye, so... yeah, that's fine. Sandaconda, that's what it is. I know all their names. It took me a little while, but I learned them all. I almost said Sandygast, that's what it was. Okay, so Sandaconda is a snake Pokemon, and it's pretty alright. It reminds me of Sandslash. Like, it's a Pokemon that has good attack and better defense, and everything else doesn't matter. But you can, like, I've used Sandacobra, like, once in battle, and you can really stall with him, because he gets minimized, so, like, you can treat him sort of like you'd treat Muck, where, like, you just use minimize and make it impossible to hit him. And then he also gets coil, so you can, like, set up. If you're really patient, you can set up and make him, like, unstoppable. So he's cool in that way. I haven't really used him. Dude, see his nose looks like a shotgun shell. Like, that's super cool. I just noticed that. I will put him in B tier. I think he might have potential in, like, the competitive metagame. I am not following that at all, so I don't know who's good in that sphere, but I feel like Sandaconda is going to be... I think he's going to show up in the metagame. I think he's going to have a place there. Especially, he has that ability, every time he gets hit, it brings out a Sandstorm. So, like, even if people are trying to negate your Sandstorm, like, you'll just throw out another one, just like, bitch, you thought you were done with the Sandstorm? Let me sneeze out another one for you. So he is relentless. We have 3 different types of Cramorant. There's Cramorant when he's gulping an Barracuda, and Cramorant when he's gulping a Pikachu, because apparently that's a thing. Whenever Cramorant uses Surf or Dive, it comes back with a fish in its mouth, or a Pikachu, and then it launches it at the opposing Pokemon at the end of the turn for extra damage. So that's really cool. And if it launches a Pikachu, then the opponent is paralyzed, which is so weird. So weird. I like Cramorant. It just has like this derpy sort of vacant type of personality, like there's nothing behind those eyes. Like, that's what you think when you look at it. And I think that's cool. I haven't been able to use him, but I wanted to. But I think he's cool. I like him as a Pokemon. I'll put him in B tier. Next up, we have Barracuda. Barracuda, you could think Sharpedo for the type of Pokemon that he is. Very, very, very glass cannon-y, but very strong and very fast. So I will put him in A tier. I have used him a little bit. He's pretty good. Although, I think Sharpedo is probably better than he is. But, he gets, like, decent coverage, too. Like, he can learn close combat, which is pretty good, pretty solid. I mean, he's gonna die in one hit to anything anyway, so who cares about lowering his defense and his special defense, you know what I'm saying? Next up, we got Tox Tricity, 2 different forms, based on the nature when it evolves. There's like half the natures turn him into this, half the natures turn him into this. Amped form is way better in my estimation. The way it looks, like purple and yellow is just a godly combination. This light blue is just sad. It's like, oh man, I'm hella depressed. I didn't take my Xanax this morning. This, not Xanax. What Xanax is for anxiety. Well, I didn't take my Zoloft this morning. That's there we go. Fixed the joke retroactively. Now just pretend it was perfect to begin with. Tox Tricity is cool. I like him. I like him. I have a friend who says that he reminds him of Crash Bandicoot. I think he looks like a Crash Bandicoot enemy. Like, I think he'd be like a Koala Kong sorta, or like a Crunch Bandicoot type of deal. Like, he could be like a Crash Bandicoot nemesis. Like, I could see that. Straight up, I could see that. I think Tox Tricity is pretty good. I will put him in A tier. Poison Electric is a really cool typing. He's quad weak to ground, but it doesn't matter that much. You just don't send him out against whatever. But yeah. I mean, you can just sort of like decide whether you want to paralyze or poison somebody based on the situations. That's cool. You have options, you know? It's all about options. Then we have Centiskorch. Centiskorch is a super cool Pokemon. It's like Scolipede, but would I say better? I don't know if I would say... I think I would say better, because its stats are actually kind of insanely good. Like, really good. So Centiskorch probably goes into S tier. Alongside these 3 fine gentlemen over here is, you know, Bug Fire, but it's also got the Flash Fire ability, possibly. so it can, the fact that it's bug, like, doesn't matter. So it can completely nullify fire. That's cool. And then it's got really good physical attack. You teach it, like, Fire Lash, teach it, whatever. And it also has access to, like, some water. You can teach it Scald, and its special, it's a mixed attacker, but physical is better, but its special attack is no joke either. You can teach it Scald, and then somebody tries to send in, like, a Colossal against you, like, oh, I got him beat. Like, you just use Scald, he's dead. So, that works. Well, maybe not Colossal, because Colossal actually has good special defense. Something like Rhydon you could use on that. That would be fine. So I'm glad to put you there. Then we have Clobopus, who is adorable. This is one of the cutest Pokemon ever. It's so cute. It's so cute. It looks great. And then you have Grappaloct, who is... I'm of, like, two minds about it. Because, like, on one hand, he's pretty good. Like, he's good, he's kind of slow, but he's strong. And he's sort of bulky-ish. And he has good coverage. He can learn a bunch of water moves. He can learn, like, Liquidation. He can learn Dive. He can also learn Ice Punch. He's a pure fighting type. So, like, and the game doesn't have very many of those. Or the game doesn't have very many new fighting type Pokemon. It's only Grapploct and, like, Phalanx, I think, are the only two. So, yeah, that's important. And so it's important that he's good, and he is good. So I think that does put him up in A tier for me. I think that's good for him. He's a bitch to catch, dude. Try and catch one of the ones in the overworld that are just kind of swimming around. Like, that, I used like 14 balls. And I accidentally killed like a bunch of them. I don't remember what happened. I think he would use like, he'd use something to like confuse himself and then he'd kill himself. So it is super annoying. You know who's surprisingly good is Poltergeist. I didn't think this Pokemon would be anything, but its special attack stats really good. And it can do some stuff. I haven't used it in battle, but I want to. This is one of the Pokemon that I want to train on my next playthrough if I do one. I would use him, I'd use like Grappaloct, I'd use some other people that I haven't used before. So Poltergeist is good. You would think that it would be like Fairy type or something, or like any kind of other thing, but like no, it's pure Ghost, which is fine. It can be pure Ghost. It has like Giga Drain for some reason. It's good. Like it can do stuff. Poltergeist is good. I'll put it in A tier. I don't know, it's just like with the reveal, you looked at it and you're like, what is that? That's where you're gonna show us all the Pokemon you could have shown us. You picked Poltergeist. But Poltergeist is good, so it's like they knew what we didn't. They were like, oh, they're gonna, when they find out how good this Pokemon is, they're gonna be like, oh shit. So that's definitely what happened. Next up we have Hatterene. Hatterene, Pokemon I was very excited for. I was all like, oh, Hatterene's the next Gardevoir. Hatterene's the next Gardevoir. Because it's female only, and people are gonna lewd the hell out of it. And it has one giant hand, so you just imagine what people are gonna do with that. It's got weird stats. Like, it's super slow, but it actually has like 95 physical attack too for no reason. It shouldn't be a physical attacker. I wish you would take all of its attack and put it into speed. But it doesn't look like it should be fast either, so just give it like medium speed I'd be fine with. It's got way too low speed for me. But its special attack's crazy good, like 137 or something like that. Absolutely insane special attack. So Hatterene is very good. It's kind of hard to use. It's hard to put it in a situation where it's usable because it's so slow, and like it's not that bulky really. Like it'll die in a couple hits to anything. So it's like you better one-shot it with whatever move you got, and you can. Like, you can definitely one-shot with it. But yeah, it's very, dude, Hatenna, if you look at Hatenna from behind, it's disgusting. Like, this is its tail. This looks like it's just that little hat that it's wearing. But no, this is its tail made to look like a hat from this perspective. So when you see it from behind, it's just, you just see Hatenna's ass pointed straight up in the air the whole time. You're like, can you not, please? That'd be great. Hatterene is much better. Hatterene actually looks the best out of all three of the line, if you ask me. I think this is the best designed Pokemon of all three of them. Hatterene just kind of like stands there. Hatterene, you know, can like walk with its hat arms and like has some mobility. So I think Hatterene is the cuter one. Next up we have Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl, Dark Fairy type. Haven't gotten to use it very much, but its stats are pretty good. I think it's slightly overrated. I think people have made... It's one of those Pokemon that looks stronger than it is. But it's not weak, and it's pretty good. But, yeah, I don't know. It's got good coverage. It can learn, like, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Thunder Punch. Drain Punch, even. So, like, you can do stuff with Grimmsnarl. You can pretty much mold him to suit whatever purposes you're trying to have him suit you for. And he has a G-Max form. So good for him. Oh, I haven't talked about, like, anybody's G-Max forms. But that's because I've only seen, like, 3 of them. Because I only have, like, 3 of them. But, you know, I have Gigantamax Dreadnought, I have Gigantamax Coprajaw, and I have Gigantamax Butterfree. So, like, those are my trifecta. Grimmsnarl is... I mean, I kind of have to put him in A tier. Like, there's just a lot of Pokemon in A tier. The thing, like... This generation is great. This is one of the most solid generations in terms of just what they brought to the table here. Most of, like, the new route Pokemon, beginning route Pokemon are bad, but everybody after that has something to offer. So it's really cool to see that. We've got Alchemy, who is an evolution of Milcery, I don't know. But you have to, like, give it a sweet and then, like, spin around and do the Champion Leon pose, which is so dumb. But, yeah, and then it evolves. It's pretty good. It's got good special attack. It's sort of like Poltergeist. They're kind of comparable, but I think Poltergeist is a little better. Alchemy has, like, no coverage at all. Like, it's very statically, like, this is a fairy and that's it. And you can't really give it anything else. You can teach it, like, Energy Ball, I guess, but it's very, like, one note. Give it a Tract, like, make it one of those types of Pokemon. But Alchemy is pretty still good. I'll put it in B tier. I like that it has a bunch of different forms. That'd be cool to see what all of them are. I have not, as of yet. It's like, they always make you do, like, the Strawberry one, because that's the only fruit you have access to in the beginning. So, or that you really collected. But that's cool. Then we have Phalanx. Dude, I didn't know what to think of Phalanx when I was looking at the leaks before. I was like, what is this? It's a bug, but why is it pure fighting type? I don't understand. It's a caterpillar. But then when you see it in-game and you see it, like, just do all of its animations, you're like, this is cool. Phalanx is one of the best animated Pokemon in the game, for sure. Like, they really went above and beyond with it. Like, when you Dynamax it, it's super cool. Like... Phalanx is really, it's such a cool concept. Like, they took a chance with it, and I'd say it paid off. It's something that, like, makes you do a double take. You're like, this is kind of dumb. And then, like, you see it, and it's better. They gave it some signature moves. It has no retreat, which is a move that makes it so it can't be switched out, but it raises all its stats like Ancient Power. So, like, if you're trying to walk in with Phalanx, you can really make him do some work. His stats aren't tremendous, but, like, he has 100 attack and 100 defense, which is pretty good for that. But, yeah, Phalanx is, fine. Like, he's pretty good. I like him conceptually. A lot of these Pokemon that I was unsure about before, I saw him in action and just it sort of clicks for you. You know what I mean? So next up we have Pinkerton, which is like, I thought Pyukumuku was last gen. Why'd you bring him back and dip him in electricity for no reason? But Pinkerton is actually apparently not that bad. Like, it's kind of bulky, it's kind of strong, very slow, as you would expect from a sea urchin. But it's pure electric type, and it's just not bad. It's just like another, I don't know, they just like keep making like trash, like nuisance Pokemon. Because in Sun and Moon there was Pyukumuku. It's like, oh man, don't go to the beach, there's a bunch of Pyukumuku everywhere. And now in Galar it's like, oh man, don't go to the coast, there's a bunch of Pinkerton in the ground, don't step on them. So it's like, why do they keep making Pokemon that are like nuisances to people's daily lives? Like, that can't feel good for them. But like, it's fine. Like, it's actually good. That's the thing, is like, this doesn't look like it should be better than any of these, but it's actually like good. So... okay, I'm gonna leverage its abilities with its design and put it in C tier. Let's say we'll do that. Damn, this loop only goes for an hour, and we've still got a few more to go. There's 15 minutes left before this runs into the hour territory. I'm trying to speed up a little bit here, but I got lots to talk about. That, you know, just a lot of vapid nonsense to spew out of my mouth hole. So next up we have Frostmoth, who I love. I love Frostmoth. It's maybe my favorite. It's definitely top 3. It's definitely top 3 favorite new Pokemon they added. I love Frostmoth. If you expect it to be like Volcarona, it's not. It's not that good, but it's pretty good. It gets access to Quiver Dance, so you can definitely set up with it, although its speed is pretty sort of low for that. Like, you might need 2 of them to outspeed your opponent if they're particularly fast. But Frostmoth also has great special attack. In the competition between Frostmoth and Centiskorch, I mean, if you battle them against each other, obviously Centiskorch would win, but because ×4 weakness to fire and all that. But, like, Frostmoth, really, I just like it conceptually. Like, I would put him on my team. Ice is my favorite type, and I really like bugs as well. Like, my top 3 types are, like, Ice, Ghost, and Bugs. So, like, this checks all the right boxes for me. I'm really a big fan of Frostmoth. It's good for him. Stonejourner, I've never been able to use. He's another sword exclusive. I looked at his stats real quick. Dude, he has 20 special defense. He has, like, less special defense than Chansey has defense. Or I'm not 100% sure on that, but, like, it's low. Like, that's the sort of thing you're dealing with here. Is that, like, if you hit him with a special move, he's gonna die. Pretty much no matter what it is. But he's got really good attack, and he's got really good defense, and he has this ability that's great for double battles. Where, like, if you just send him out, it just powers up your opponent, or your other Pokemon's moves, just by being near him for some reason. So, he's a good, like, support Pokemon, too. I like the way he looks. Like, I don't usually like these, like, weird-looking Pokemon, because, like, he looks kind of Ultra Beasty to me, and I've never really liked the Ultra Beast designs, because they never really seemed like Pokemon. They just kind of seemed like fan art of, like, what if aliens were real, and this is what they look like. But, like, I still think that he's pretty okay. I'll put him in B tier. I know he's got uses. He's definitely, like, a liability in many cases, but he could also be very strong in the right circumstances. Then we have Ice-Q. I wrote off Ice-Q very harshly before. I was like, oh, this is the dumbest Pokemon they've added. Why did they do this? And then it's another one of those examples of, like, you spend some time with the Pokemon, you don't really spend... Oh, I didn't spend time with it. I haven't used him in battle, but, like, I saw what his ability is. His ability is Ice Face, and if he takes a physical attack, the block of ice nullifies that, and then it shatters. And so it's like Mimikyu, but with only physical attacks. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Alright, the lure's made me appreciate him. God damn it. I can't stay mad at Ice-Q conceptually for no reason. So... I mean, he's not a great battler. I assume that if you were sending him out against a physical attacker, you could ideally set up in his face using Ice Face, so, like, that's cool. He's got some utility. I will put him in C tier as a result of that. Yeah, he's above Korbinite. Christ, that's where we're at. Male Indeedee is actually pretty good. He's got good stats, good move pool, he can learn some good TRs. Indeedee, you know, everybody compares Indeedee to Audino. I thought it was Audino, but apparently it's Audino. I mean, I've heard it said in the thing, but it's like, I like Audino better. But Audino, whatever. But, you know, Audino was like the healer, and this is also sort of like the healer Pokemon, but he hangs out with, like, the Name Raider instead of the actual, like, Pokemon Center. I mean, he hangs out at the Pokemon Center, but he hangs out with the person who, like, learns all your moves. So I guess Indeedee is maybe the one who does that. It's like, oh, Indeedee's magic power can make anybody learn anything or forget anything. That makes sense, actually. He's got some mystical powers that Indeedee does. So yeah, Indeedee's pretty good. He goes into B tier. I don't mind him. I don't think any particular way about him, really. Next up, we have Morpeko. I have heightened respect for Morpeko after using him for a while, because I went and actually, like, caught him and trained him and used him and stuff to see, like, how he was. And he's pretty good. You know, I thought he'd be, like, another, like, Pachirisu, sort of Togedemaru, sort of like, who cares that this Pokemon exists? Like, why do they keep trying to copy Pikachu every generation? But... or, like, invent a new Pikachu, I guess. But this Morpeko is sort of like, he's cute and I like what he's got going on. And his Aura Wheel move is hella good. 110 physical damage is super good with no backfiring, like no recoil or nothing either. And it raises his speed by 1 stage. So like he can like become a monster. He's good. Morpeko, definitely A tier for me. So good for him. We're almost done here. We're just moving on to Copperjaw. Copperjaw is maybe my favorite Pokemon of this generation. I love Copperjaw. I saw potential in him. Immediately, I was like, ooh, this reminds me of Donphin. And Donphin was one of like the most severely underrated Pokemon of Generation 2. Donphin was an absolute beast. And Copperjaw is also an absolute beast. Not exactly in the same way. I think, did Donphin have like 120 attack or 140? I want to say 120, because if it was 140, that's way too good. But Copperjaw has 130, and Donphin had much better defense. Copperjaw does not have good defense or good special defense, but he has a ton of HP. So he's got really high HP, really high attack, and he can get it done. He has a hidden ability called Heavy Metal, which doubles his weight, and if you combine that with the move Heavy Slam, oh boy, you were gonna one-shot everything. So Copperjaw also has a super cool Gigantamax form that I like. I wish that like you could just teach your Pokemon how to Gigantamax if they have the form. I do not like having to catch a whole new Pokemon that is just a clone of the one that I've trained the entire time, that I went through the entire game with, that became my trusted companion. It's just like, oh, fuck off. I found one of you that can get bigger. Like, that's really like the whole thing, and I can't, I don't like it at all. It makes me not like Gigantamax Pokemon. So, yeah. Like, most of my main team can Gigantamax, but it's like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna replace them. I like them too much, because I'm a true trainer who believes in friendship and loyalty. Then we have the fossil types. You can only get... Dude, you can only get, like... I don't know, I've only ever... In Shield, I've only been able to get the fossilized Drake and the fossilized fish. So, like, you have to trade with... It's like, you can only get one of them. And besides, like, trading other people for items. Like, I'm not really sure how that works. But I've only used Dracovish. They're all pretty much the same. Their stats are like, oh, they're plus 10 to this stat versus this stat, as opposed to this other stat. Like, they're all basically the same. I think they're all fine. I don't think really any of them is better than the other one. I think you could put basically all of them into B tier and just call it good. I'm sure that, like, somebody who takes a bunch of time and effort to, like, really, you know, figure out their strengths and weaknesses and what they can do would be like, oh, here's a clear winner. But for me, they're all the same. Yeah. And then after that, we've got Duraludon, or however you pronounce that. Duraludon is like, I don't even... Dude, he's fast, and he doesn't look like he should be fast. He's also not bulky, but he looks like he should be bulky. But, like, he's also a special attacker, and he looks like he shouldn't be a special attacker. This Pokemon is just, like... gives off the most inaccurate first impression you've ever seen in your life. And I haven't really used him. I don't think he's that good. I think he can be killed pretty easily. I think he's not that strong. I would put him in, like, C tier. He's fine. I'm not enthused by him. If we're talking about a Dragon-type Pokemon, I am enthused by Dragapult, or Dragapult. Dragapult. It's Dragapult, I think. Dragapult is straight up S tier. Dragapult's got crazy good attack, so good speed, and can be mixed special attack, too. He's like the pseudo-legendary. You know, he's the Haxorus of this gen. He's the Haxorus of this gen. So, Garchomp, that's another one. So Dragapult is super good. Dude, it doesn't evolve into its second stage until, like, level 55 or something like that. Like, Dreepy, that is. And Dreepy doesn't learn any moves the entire time it's leveling up, so it's like, wow. Dreepy's kind of tough to raise, but, you know, by the time you can catch it, you just level it up with candy, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, and then from there, you just have the legendaries. Dude, I don't care. Like, I picked Shield. I like Zamazenta better than Zacian. I think he looks cooler. He's got this coloration that I like going on. I will put Zamazenta in A tier. I will put Zacian in B tier. You know, whichever one is better, I'm not sure. Also, is Zacian pure fighting? Or, like, I'm not 100% on that. Are they both steel fighting? Because, like, I was having a heck of a time, like, trying to figure out why certain moves were super effective against him and some weren't. And I was like, I cannot nail this down. But, you know, it's fine. It doesn't matter. And then their, like, weaponless forms are dumb. Like, I mean, you're not going to use them like that. Eternatus? Dude, I haven't seen this Eternatus. What even is that? Like, it's not a Dynamax form, because they don't let Eternatus Dynamax. Not really sure. Must be some sort of different form that hasn't been released yet, or I don't know. You know, they've been releasing stuff. They just released Gigantamax Snorlax like a day or two ago. And he basically just looks like Torterra. Like, they could have just added Torterra. I think people would have been equally thrilled. But Eternatus, Poison Dragon. You know, like Dragalge, but better. It has Dynamax Cannon, super effective against all Dynamax Pokemon. But it doesn't take... The Dynamax Cannon doesn't take 2 bars off their thing, so it's really not that good. If it did, that would be great. But it doesn't, so it's just whatever. But Eternatus is like... Just, like, it's fine. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about the legendaries. I never did. I never will. So they can go wherever they're going. But that's going to do it for this tier list. You can see that in S tier, we've got Galarian Darmanitan with his snowman form. We got Cinderace, we got Centiskorch, we got Frostmoth, we got Copperjaw, and Dragapult. And then down in F tier, we have Berserker, Eldegoss, and Colossal. All in all, like, if you just look, because, like, C is average, you know? C isn't positive or negative. Although, well, yeah. No, it's average. So, like... Most of the Pokemon are good. Like, this generation's got mostly good Pokemon. There's only 6 that are below average. So good for them. You know, like, this is a solid generation. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the generation. I do hope they add more stuff. Like, post-game content or, I don't know, more stuff. I don't even know what it would be. But, like, add more stuff. Add more stuff to the game. This is definitely the type of game that you could definitely update over time. If you so chose. But also keep working on that Gen 4 remake we all know you're doing. Because you gave Galarian forms to Generation 1, 2, 3, and 5, not a single one from Generation 4. And you cut out most of the good Generation 4 Pokemon too. So we know what you're doing. We know you're working on it, and it's going to be great. So, cool. Yeah, that's going to do it for this tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I will see you guys next time.